All right, this week we're going to talk about joy. And there's a lot of great joy verses in the Bible, but we're going to start with Isaiah 55:12. And that's a really special song that I remember from the time I was a little girl. And we used to sing this song, and maybe some of you know it. And it would say, "We will go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you, and the trees of the hills will clap their hands as we go out with joy." And we used to love that song as kids, because the trees of the hills and, would clap their hands. It was such a nice action song. But you know what? This verse is more than an action song. This is such a declaration and a promise of God. Before we look at it a little more, I want us to kind of go back to the beginning part of Isaiah 55, because so many things are there that I feel like kind of set the stage. So the beginning of the chapter, God is saying, Isaiah is saying actually, seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he's near. So we should be seeking him. We should call on him. And then it says how his ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And then he gives a picture of the snow and the rain coming down from heaven. And he says the snow and the rain will come down from heaven, but they won't come back up until they've watered the earth. Well, that's the reason they were sent. And I love the snow. First of all, I am a snow girl. Not that I'm getting a lot of snow in India, but I can still remember how wonderful and cool it is. But next, God says he's setting up a picture for us to understand how the rain comes down, but it doesn't go back up until the earth gets watered. And the same way God says about his word. And he said, my words that come out of my mouth don't come back to me until they've accomplished everything that I sent them for. Another way we've heard it said is, my words do not return to me void, okay? Without results, without succeeding in what God sent them for. So now let's go back to verse 12. So what does it say? In the Amplified it says, for you will go out from exile with joy. Well, we may not be held captives in another land like the Israelites were, but you know what? A lot of us are in captivity and we are in exile. We are far away from God's promise. And he wants to say, I'm going to break down the mountains. I'm going to move the hills. Whatever's in the way between you and that promise that he has for you, I'm going to move it. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to redeem you. I'm going to bring you out of exile. And the next part is that we'll be led forth by the Lord himself with peace. I love that. And the picture that always comes to me when I think about being led by the Lord is, of course, Psalms 23. And he says, I will lead you by still waters. And it makes me think about his deliverance and his provision and that he is more than enough. So that's a really good reason to have joy. So as we think about going the second mile, we don't want to just think about having joy when it's a good day, because joy is not dependent on what kind of day you're having. Joy is dependent on God's word and his promise. And he says he's going to move the mountains. He's going to take us out of that place of captivity. He's going to lead us by his peace.